Welcome to the DM1 Nature Walk, my account of my challenge, my awareness of objects and concepts and things that I might see, hear, or feel that start with the letter D and M, and I recognize a pattern of one. I'm going to start with the D's because there is an interesting observation I made in a conversation that I had. The ducks and the magpies seem to be gone. Now, normally at this time of year, which is the early September time, some ducks are still around and magpies can still be flying about, but for some reason, they're all gone. I just happened to see one mallard duck and I went, what's going on here? And I just happened to be walking the next day with an acquaintance of mine, and I made mention of this observation about the birds. And she said, well, I had heard that with the ducks and magpies and many of the bigger birds have already gone, that winter's coming and it's going to come with quite a blast. Then I went back to thinking about, is that true? I can't remember. So I think some observations will be made over the next coming months to see if that is true. The next thing that I was paying attention to was dirt. And I was just looking at the placement of some, what I would have maybe called soil, but then I went, hang on a minute, what's the connection between soil and dirt? And I did a bit of looking and I went, oh, this is kind of interesting, is that soil has very much a livingness to it. It has all the ingredients that dirt has, but it's more what we would call alive. And therefore, dirt is moved soil and is not in its natural state. So I've been walking around trying to look at, well, what's here? And then I said, well, there's a lot of the dirt along the trail that has been kicked up, which isn't natural, but just to the side of it and amongst the soil that's there, the debris from the trees and the leaves, there's soil there. There's livingness. And I went, oh, that's kind of an interesting observation. And that brought to the foreground, I guess what I'm doing is I'm involved with discovery. I'm out there in the mode to discover. And so I went on one of my walks and I did the following. I said, hi. And that's hi to what I was looking at, what I was discovering. So hi to the tree. And then I went, well, what's hidden here? Because if high here is the tree and it's in the foreground, what's hidden behind the tree? And I started looking around and poking around without doing any harm to the tree, just looking for, well, what was hidden? And you could sort of look underneath the grass that was there or the twigs or cones, and you see something else. And then I went, well, this is kind of an interesting activity. There has a sense of healing that is taking place. And so to discover for me now has this meaning of, hi, here's the foreground, whatever I'm looking at. Here's the hidden aspects of that. And by engaging in this high and hidden conversation, I am in a way healing myself. I am looking at the trees, the forest, nature as self-care companion. And I thought that was a really great way of looking at it. So now let me turn my attention to the M's. What came to mind? Aha, slip one in there. With all the walks that I do, there is a sense of map or mapping. Now, the use of mapping with capitalized MAPP with a small ing was a term that I created in my studies. And it was a way to remind me, and it goes like this: map to act, act to plan, plan to take some kind of action that has the starting letter P. Prevent, prepare, provide. And then I went, okay, well, mapping is map to act to plan, plan to do the preparing, the planning, the providing, the preventing, whatever it might be. And it was just a way to really think through things. And it was very helpful in my days of my involvement with nature, with forests and trees, being out there for prolonged times, canoeing and whitewater rafting, and walking, hiking. Then the word M for maintain came in because I was walking and I was maintaining a pace. And oh, hang on a minute, I've got this rhythm that's going on here. And then I went, well, if that's the case of maintain, is there any other M's that I might associate with that? And I went back to the word map, okay, and then that led me to manage, okay, and monitor and maintain and maximize and minimize. I started to see other M related words that I could include with this mapping story I just shared, and or my approach to my involvement with nature, with the forest and the trees. And then I was having a conversation with a neighbor, and he said, well, that's a mountain ash. I said, no, 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 that's a mountain. That's not a mountain ash. And what was happening was it was a mountain ash, but I was thinking mountain maple because mountain maple was the symbol I used in the very beginning of the company. It was the logo was the three mountain maple leaves. Yes, it was true. It was a mountain ash, and we confirmed that by pulling out the phone and looking it up, and sure enough, it was a mountain ash. All right, now when it comes to the number one trunk, so you think. Well, that's what I usually associate with a tree. It has one trunk. But there are some trees that have multiple trunks. But for the most part, when I think of a tree, I think of the one trunk. Now, I'm going to show you a picture here of what I call three trunk tree, just to illustrate the point that there's three definitive trunks that came out of that tree. But for the most part, I think you would agree as most trees have one trunk. Now, alders, willows, all right, they have multiple trunks, but go with me on that one. That was just a pattern I saw. Now, the next thing is one is not the loneliest number in the forest because the forest has all these different kinds of trees, all the flora and fauna that's associated with the forest. So I don't see a forest as being a place of loneliness. I don't see it being alone. I find myself being alone there, but doing it from a very deep, appreciative, with gratitude perspective. And then there was a point where I was walking and I was just doing a little bit of up and down, not, big differentiations of height, but just enough to go, okay, I'm picking up, going up, picking up, going down. So there is one time actually became each time. So one time I'm going up, then I'd be going down, and then each time I would do that, there would be like another one being added. And it just reminded me is I could look at them as multiple times of going up and down along the path, or I could look at each one, each time I was doing it, as something that was particular to the path at that point in time. So that got me that little deeper philosophical playing around, and I just thought that I'd share that one with you. When it comes to D and M together, I thought direct message. And I guess in many ways, sharing this story, sharing this DM1 with you is also another way to think about direct message. Now, you might argue, well, hang on a minute, it's being done through video. But I'm offering to you, this is a direct message. I'm sharing it with you. You're picking it up when it is appropriate for you, and it was meant for you. And so please enjoy this direct message that I'm sharing with you. Now, as to a short poem, which is something that I do, bringing some ideas to the foreground, I'm going to share with you a poem called Ruts and Grooves. Mapping this path has ruts and grooves and flat felt tracks. Walked for years, this path bears the story of decisions. Here, the rutted section today is bike worn, boots before. Just there, the grooves where the plants and dirt begin their reclamation. Alongside trampling green, worn sections of alternative paths, especially because of winter snow. And with the flats come the ruts and grooves, where ruts and grooves are refitted for the cycle of a footpath. So I hope you enjoyed my summary of my DM1 nature walks. And I look forward to your comments. What did you find from a DM1 perspective? Please add them if you have a YouTube channel and you want to shoot a video, put a link in to the comments section below. I so enjoy comments because they give me an opportunity to learn with you. And I will be making an announcement here on what is the upcoming nature walk letters and number. So keep an eye out for that. That announcement will be in the shorts. So with that, I think I'll call that a day. I certainly encourage you to take care and enjoy your awareness time, your awareness from forests and trees. Thanks for joining me on this walk. A big request of you. Please watch lots of channel videos. It helps us all. And when you comment, we can learn together. Take care.